Hello, everyone, and welcome to Embracing Your Essence on Lilydale Radio. I am Colleen Vanderzyden, the host of the show. And every week, well, every Tuesday, although I've missed a few this year, every week on this show, I talk about something that can help you live as your best self, to help you be your most wonderful, awesome self. Today, we are going to be talking about how to get unstuck. And of course, as you're joining in, please do say hello, and we'll go from there. So while I'm waiting for more people to join me tonight, we are going to be, as I said, talking about how to get unstuck. But let's just talk about some of the things that are coming up. Here in Lilydale, we have Lilydale Summer Season, which is starting on June 20th and finishes August 31st. And we have so many wonderful people coming this summer. Hi, Julie. Nice to see you. We have lots of awesome people coming. We have Cindy Kaza, an amazing medium. She is coming. We have Peter Cater, who is a Grammy Award-winning composer. He's going to be doing a breathwork workshop and composing the music that goes with it. It's going to be absolutely stunning. You'll have to check it out. We also have Karen Noe coming, and she is the medium that Wayne Dyer speaks through. And my own husband, Greg Unterberger, he is going to be doing a couple of season highlights, including an Edgar Cayce weekend, as well as a Course in Miracles weekend. So we have so many wonderful events happening this summer. So make sure you go to lilydaleassembly.org and find out what's going on. You can also do the official Facebook page, Lilydale Assembly Incorporated, and you will see the events there. Here's the handy little catalog book. You can call the office and they'll send it to you for a shipping cost. I think it's $5 or something, or you can pick one up when you're here, and it lists everything that's happening this summer. So if you're just joining me again, I am Colleen Vanderzyden. I am a registered medium at Lilydale Assembly. I am a certified spiritual life coach. I'm also the author of the book, Courageously You, Magical Mind Games to Get Unstuck and Reignite Your Joy. Helping people get unstuck is one of my specialties, and that's why we're talking about it tonight. So I'm going to say hello to people as you're joining in. Heather, nice to see you. Hi, Amy. Hi, Jeannie and Beth and Christine and Kimberly. Hi, Martin and Hillary. Yay. And I think I didn't miss anybody. My thing scrolls so fast, sometimes it's hard to tell. So anyway, my website is ColleenVanderzyden.com or BeCourageouslyYou.com. And if you think you're going to want to make a comment tonight or ask a question, you need to be on my Facebook page. Colleen Vanderzyden, medium and intuitive life coach. Okay, it's just a little bit easier for me to see because I can't see the comments live on Lilydale's page. Hi, Shelley, nice to see you. And hi, Jan, nice to see you. My book is not out on audio yet, but it is on the list. We'll see how long that takes to get to it. Hi, Pam, nice to see you as well. And Diane, too. So one more little thing I want to tell you guys about. If you have been struggling with the craziness of the world or even your own challenges, as so many of us have been, or if you are wondering how to keep your inner peace during these chaotic times, I'd like to invite you to join me and Greg for a Soul Alignment During Chaotic Times, a workshop. It is live online Sunday and Monday, June 1st and 2nd, 7:30 p.m. And if you want to learn more about it, you can hit my website up. Maybe Greg will post the link for us, and you can check it out. A very reasonable price, and people are really struggling with all the turmoil and chaos that's happening. So we've got a really simple, awesome 3-step process that will help you regain your inner peace. So there is that. Hi, Jessica. It has been a while. So I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever and a day, and it has been quite a bit of time. There's been so many things going on. I had my retreat. I was performing, blah, blah. So here we are tonight, though, and tonight we are going to talk about being stuck. Some reasons why you might feel like you're stuck, and also some thoughts on how to get out of it so that you can actually feel better. My perspective is usually different than the average person, so it'll be interesting to see what you think when we get to the end here. Hi, Michelle. Nice to see you as well. So, have you been feeling stuck? I'm assuming most of you have, if not all of you. I know that I have had my moments of feeling stuck. I know many of my clients are feeling stuck in all sorts of different ways. And so we're going to talk about some of these things for a brief moment here. Lots of times when we think of being stuck, we think of our situations, right? We think, I can't find a partner, I can't find a job, and we keep thinking about this. We might think, I can't fix my relationship, I don't know what to do with a certain situation. I keep thinking and thinking and I can't figure it out. Or maybe we're stuck trying to figure out our purpose. We feel like there's something we should be doing, or we can't figure out how to be happier. And sometimes people say to me they don't know which direction they need to go in. What is next? What are their next steps? Sometimes we feel stuck because we have these dreams or goals and they're not happening, so we start to doubt ourselves or start to doubt these goals and think, well, maybe they're stupid, or maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe there's something wrong with me. And there's not. We can also get stuck, hi Dee and Roxanne, we can also get stuck in the fear of uncertainty, right? And the potential negative outcomes. So we have these mental situations, emotional situations, where we can get stuck in those. And we can get stuck wondering why life isn't going the way we thought it would, or why people aren't behaving the way we think they should. Right? We can get stuck in so many things. So we can get stuck worrying about a situation. We can get stuck in our fears. We can get stuck in a never-ending cycle about whatever's wrong with our lives, or how life is unfair, or how mean people can be, etc., etc. So if you're on my page, Colleen Vanderzyden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach, right here in the comments how you feel you're stuck. What is happening that makes you stuck? You don't have to give me the whole, every single bit of the details, of course, but why do you feel stuck? What is happening there? And the reason I want to see is because as I'm talking, if I can catch some of the comments as they go by, I might have some advice for you. And later on, we're going to have time for questions, I think. And if you have a certain situation, maybe there's something I can say that will help. So as you're doing that, hi Charity, nice to see you as well. When we feel stuck, it can be difficult to get control over our thoughts, right? They go in circles. It's like our mind is trying so hard to come up with something that will help us move forward, that will help us feel better as we're dealing with whatever it is. And we want to have some kind of action steps, right? Something, we want to know what we should do next. This is why we get stuck in there. We're always trying to figure it out. And then we're also trying to find a way to let these uncomfortable thoughts go, right? We want to let them go. We're tired of feeling like this. When we feel stuck, it's not a great feeling, is it? We feel horrible. And so we want to have something to help us move forward. And Deborah says, life is crazy. We are, and I've said this, I think every show I've done this past school year, we'll call it, we are in the craziest time. The energy is so intense. There's so much happening. It's like we're in this pinball machine. We're bouncing from one thing to another. So we've got that energy to deal with too, right? Okay. And Amy is saying, recovering from surgery and feel like I'm hitting a wall, right? Because we want to heal. Career is overwhelming and not providing a decent income, Christine says. I feel like the people in my life are against my joy. Oh, that's actually kind of sad, isn't it? This is a setback because I can't realize what makes them treat me poorly. Right? Oh, so that, of course, right? If you really feel stuck like that. Charity says, I feel stuck or blocked in mediumship development. So there's lots and lots of ways we can feel stuck. And as we are trying to work through all of this, we tend to, as I said, keep thinking about it, right? And here's where we can have a little bit of a problem. When we're feeling stuck, we can be so focused on how we're stuck, how we don't like how we feel, how we don't know what to do, that we keep saying to ourselves, I'm stuck. I don't know what's next. I can't fix it. Right? Anybody relate to this feeling, right? So we're stuck, and what do? We talk about it. I'm feeling stuck. I don't know what's next. I don't know how to move forward. I don't know what to do. And when we do this, we're using the law of attraction to bring more of those stuck feelings to us. Oh dear, right? Oh dear. So remember, in manifestation and the law of attraction, what we focus on And when we're feeling it, as we do when we're stuck, we keep feeling it. We keep saying how awful we feel and how confused we are. So when we focus on this and feel it, we're going to get more of it. Okay, we're going to get more of it. So if we're continually telling ourselves we're stuck, we are going to stay stuck. Oh dear, right? I'm going to check the comments, see what other people have said. I'm ready to make changes, but can't get clarity on real steps to take. Feel like I'm stuck in neutral. Jeannie, I have a perspective that's going to be so helpful for you. Desiree, accepting what my life is instead of what it is not or what I think it should be. I'm going to talk about that, Desiree. Jan, stuck trying to lose weight, get started and broke my ankle. Oh no. Oh no. So sorry to hear that. And Bonnie, my career can't find a permanent job yet being qualified, so feel stuck in life purpose. Dawn says, yeah, the energy's wonky right now. It certainly is. Jeremiah, align your expectations with reality. Exactly. And I'll talk about that a little bit, probably from a slightly different angle. Hi, Jessica. Yes. Kimberly, I'm battling kidney disease and have been feeling stuck and that my life is on hold, trying to get off pharmaceutical drugs. And I have a technique for that. Shaylee, I'm stuck in postpartum motherhood and finding who I am as a person again, having my own future, not just my kids and raising them. I talk to a lot of people who now particularly are trying to either reinvent themselves, reimagine their lives, figure out what their new purpose is after some kind of event in their lives, or maybe it's simply that we just get that nudge and feeling that we should be doing something else or whatever it might be. So we'll talk about some things with that as well. Mary says she's stuck in the same patterns over and over, a loop of the same harsh things over and over. Anybody else get into that loop too? Oh my, oh my. Karmic, she says, question mark. I have done so much work and the same things keep happening. People turn on me, yell at me out of nowhere, financial blocks, losses. It's really, really scary. So as I'm talking tonight, what I'm going to be talking about very soon is some information to help you understand what's happening when we're stuck. So I'm going to talk about that. And then a little bit after that, I'll talk about some strategies. Some of what I'm going to talk about will apply to your situations. So listen and make sure you pick up on them as they go. And at the end, if I have some time left, which I probably will, I can give you some more suggestions for whatever is happening for you. I think part of our problem as humans is that when we feel stuck, we dislike it so much, right? It's miserable. That's when we start complaining about it, which brings more of it to us. But also humans, we are so impatient. We don't want to take the time to work through something. We don't want to take the time to allow whatever situation we're in to either develop or unfold. And we want what we want and we want it now. So that's part of our issue when we're feeling stuck. Michelle is saying, I'm not feeling as stuck, probably because of the community. That's our soul empowerment community, I believe. But I still find that several things are still cyclical, right? Madonna says, that was me today, all day. Cindy says, I know all this, and then I argue with myself about stopping these negative feelings. I talk myself out half the time. I'm going to mention that as well. You guys are psychic tonight. You know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. Look at this. Dawn says, really mindful of my thoughts and words. Sometimes it's hard. It is. It really is. Margaret, I'm struggling with a few different things, but mostly losing my mom 2 years ago. And that's always so hard. I'm so sorry about that. Madonna, I'm dealing with family estrangement. Anybody else got that going on? Cindy saying her husband's health concerns has also complicated her positive attitude. There's so much here, right? There's just so much here. Katie Ann, I so needed this tonight. Something made me grab my phone as I sat here tonight at my second job, stressed and feeling this way all day. So I think a lot of the things I'm going to talk about tonight are going to be helpful for you, and I appreciate you putting them in there because it gives me an idea of what you're experiencing, how you're feeling. And so back to this, as humans, we want our situations to change so we feel better, right? If only this would happen, then I would feel better. If only I had a new job, then I would feel better. If only I knew what my purpose is, then I'm going to feel better. And we think if we know what's next, we can move toward it and we'll feel relieved, right? We'll be reassured that all is well. However, a very important part for getting unstuck is to shift our mindsets. It's a very important part. What happens when we do this, first, is this actually will shift our energy, which will positively impact our physical situations. Okay, so we want to shift our mindset. We want to work with that. And I've got suggestions for you, and which will help us handle feeling stuck and help us move through it with as much, we'll put it grace in quotation marks as we can, with as much grace as possible. So we're going to talk about all sorts of ideas to help you shift your mindset and feel better. But let's first talk about what's happening when you feel stuck. And in case you've just joined in, I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, registered medium, certified intuitive life coach, spiritual coach, spiritual teacher, author of the book Courageously You, which deals with helping people get unstuck. And if you want to make comments or ask questions, be over here on my Facebook page, Colleen Vanderzyden, medium and intuitive life coach. And if you are watching this after the live, you can certainly ask questions as well. I usually check the comments the next day and into the following day if there are a lot of them. And so if I see your comment, I can respond. So let's talk about what's really happening when you feel stuck. When you understand what could be happening, what is happening, it will feel like you're taking a weight off of feeling stuck. You will feel lighter. You'll see that feeling stuck is actually a normal evolutionary process. It is a normal process. And that's why, when I say, how are you stuck, right? How are you stuck? And because we all have the opportunity to be stuck on occasion, right? So I've got, I think it's 7 things that will tell you what could be happening for you. So pay attention and see which one relates to you. So the first one, a sign of growth. Feeling stuck is a sign of growth. Feeling stuck is a sign you are evolving. Your soul is actually letting you know there's more for you. And in some ways, it's like a rebirth, right? You're creating something new. Something new is coming. And of course, with a rebirth or some kind of birth, it can be uncomfortable. And we can feel like it will never end. And that's what happens when we feel stuck, right? This is going to last for the rest of my life. And we're just being over dramatic, but that's what it feels like. And so we feel like we may never get the answer. We may never feel better. We'll never know what it is. But if we can see that feeling stuck is actually a normal process toward growth as a human, so we can evolve into the best version, most authentic version of ourselves, it's a lot easier to accept that something is happening where we feel stuck and we're not moving as quickly as we want to be. Right? Back to the humans are impatient. So this is actually a sign that you are growing, that you are evolving. It is not comfortable, right? Sometimes we just really hate that. We hate feeling stuck. But if you can see that it's just a sign that you're growing and evolving, it really helps. So your soul is guiding you in a way. And what happens next, number 2, is feeling stuck is actually a sign of an energetic shift. You are changing. You are shifting. Your energy is shifting. You're moving from one place, an older version of you, if you will, an older life, something in the past or will soon be in the past, to a new place, a new energy, usually a higher vibrational energy. And we are simply, when we're stuck, in a transition time. That's all it is. We're in a transition time. It can take time to get used to the new energy, to get ready for what's coming. So and that's where our impatience come back in again. It's like, oh my gosh, this is taking so long. But our energy is changing. So it takes some time for our physical bodies to catch up. Okay, so this is another thing that's happening when you're feeling stuck. Another thing that is wonderful when you feel stuck is it is a really awesome motivator for us to listen to our internal guidance. Frequently, when we're feeling stuck, we look outside of ourselves. We look for someone else to give us the answers. We look for something outside of ourselves to be solved. But instead, this is a time to move into looking within, move into trusting. And I'm going to talk more about trusting because trusting is huge when we are feeling stuck. Trusting is the ultimate solution. So we want to, because we don't like how we feel, it's a great motivator for us to go, okay, what's really happening inside me? Which then leads me to the next thing, which is this is an opportunity for us to learn more about who we really are. Okay, now somebody just said in their heads, wait a minute. How is that going to help me move forward? Well, it is. Because if you understand more about who you are, how you respond, how you're thinking, all of those things, you'll be stronger in your power. You'll be trusting better. But lots of times when we feel stuck, not all the time, but lots of times, it's because of our own fear. Okay, as we learn more about ourselves, we might see these self-beliefs or question things that are disempowering. I can't say that today. We might see that self-doubt. We might see that we're feeling unworthy. And all of these things can stop us from taking action. So if we understand that we have an inner critic who likes to tell us how wrong we are all the time, and that is going to try to keep you safe by keeping you stuck. Because if you don't take any action, you'll stay safe. It's this weird thing that happens in our heads. We don't consciously do this. We don't say, ooh, my inner critic says don't do this because it's dangerous. We actually go, this doesn't, I don't know. I'm kind of scared to do it. I'll do it later. And then we never do it. So we actually become influenced by this little thought in our heads. Then we don't even understand that we're doing it. Okay, so we want to be able to look at our thoughts. We want to be able to figure out what's happening in our heads. What does stop us from moving forward? Now, this is not to say that sometimes things happen and we have no control over them, right? So that's a different situation, and we have a different thought on that in a little bit. So we want to use this time of feeling stuck as an opportunity to explore our thoughts, to explore how we're thinking, how we're responding, how we're acting, how we're behaving, all of these things. Humans like to skip the learning part, right? Because it's too hard, in quotes. Okay, we want to skip it. We want somebody else to give us those answers. Just give me the answers and then it'll just work. We want somebody to give us that sense of direction. Or we just magically want to feel better. Something's going to happen. We want it to be simple and easy, right? And learning more about ourselves is not always simple and easy. And one of the scarier things we're ever going to do in our lives is be willing to look within and find out who we really are. But when we find out who we really are, we recognize how powerful we are, how much power we have to navigate these challenges, how we can change our thoughts into more positive ones, how we can be more intentional in how we live to make sure our actions, behaviors, and words reflect our authenticity. Hence, my book, Courageously You. Okay, helping people live as their true, authentic selves. When we figure all of this out and we start to look at our situations from that learning perspective, we're back in our power and we can handle the stuck. Okay, now another thought on feeling stuck and why it might be there is in this learning, we can learn more about what we're holding on to so we can let it go. So whenever we're stuck, we're definitely holding on to something. And I'll explain more about this in a bit too. It could be a desire for reassurance. We could be holding on to a need for control, especially if we feel out of control. It could be holding on to wanting life or people to be different. There are so many things we hold on to. And this will keep us obviously more stuck. So when we can identify what we're holding on to, we're back into our power, and then we can let it go, which I will talk about more in a few minutes. Another thought on why we might be stuck, and you'll like this one, especially you guys who are thinking, I keep working, I keep working, I keep working, and nothing is happening. It could be that the universe is protecting us. What we want isn't good enough for us. Maybe it's giving us time for another option. Maybe we are waiting for, we want this certain job, right? I know somebody mentioned something like that. We want this job that would really be in alignment with our career, and it's just not happening. But here's the thing, if we're going to trust this, we're going to trust that the right job is going to appear at the right time. So the universe could be protecting you by going, no, 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 that job isn't good for you. I hope you don't get that job. The universe is saying, nope, I'm going to make sure you don't get that job because you wouldn't like it. And where you're at is actually better than where you would be with that. Same thing with a relationship. You're waiting for a partner. You want one so badly, and you meet somebody and you think, this is wonderful. And then they break up with you, and later on you find out they were a serial killer. And that's actually based on a true story. Not my story, but based on a true story, right? So maybe when we're working towards something and it's not working out for us, maybe the universe is protecting us. Maybe your idea, your goal, your dream isn't quite where it needs to be yet for it to succeed. So the universe is just giving you some more time. And another time that we might get stuck is because we know what the answer is, we know what we're supposed to do, but we don't want to do it. Okay, so you could be stuck in inaction or confused about something because you know deep down you need to leave your husband, your job, you need to speak your truth and have a difficult conversation, but you don't really want to do that because it's going to hurt other people or it's too uncomfortable. And so we keep searching for another solution when the solution is to speak up, honor what we know to be true, and have that difficult conversation, whatever it is. So I had somebody say to me a while ago, I said, we've got to follow our soul. What does your soul want you to do? And somebody said, well, I know what my soul wants to do, but it's going to hurt somebody or it's going to be too hard. So we want to, when we recognize that, now we have a choice. How are we going to be intentional? What are we going to do with this information? We can stay stuck hoping things will magically improve, and they're probably not going to. Or we can pull the Band-Aid off, as they say, and take the action step and do what you need to do, and you will no longer be stuck. Sometimes getting unstuck involves a difficult choice. Okay, and if we know that's what it is, that helps. So when you look back on how you're stuck now and what I just said, all of these reasons why you might be stuck, how something could apply, feel free to write it in the comments. It'd be interesting to see your thoughts. Let's see, comments, just see what we got. Cindy, I like that I can just trust and not argue with myself, right? Wouldn't that be wonderful? We don't have to work so hard if we just trust. She says, Cindy, you're so funny in a weird way. I'm not laughing at your situation here, but just how you say things. She goes, when I fell on my face in January, in my head, I heard a voice telling me, now you will slow down. And maybe slowing down and trusting is my better course of action. Isn't it interesting? The universe has a way of guiding us to what we need to know. Ryan says, I can't seem to get a house. And the irony is that I have the money to buy one with no mortgage. It feels like a sick joke. I have to laugh at it. Right? And so here's an example, everyone, of we're waiting for divine timing. We're waiting for the right house to come. And even if Ryan thinks he's found it, it may not be it. Okay? So perfect example of trusting that the right house will come. I know it's a little challenging right now because there aren't a lot of houses out there. So it's a little bit of a challenge. Kate is saying, about a year ago, I felt like I was in Groundhog Day, miserable and feeling like nothing would improve. I decided to go back to school and pray every day. And here I am now with 2 new jobs and working towards an education at 43. Determined to find my path, I still pray daily and talk out loud to my guides that I'm making moves. I still ask them for signs. I believe I've gotten a few lately. Isn't that wonderful? So, everyone, there's another example. She felt like she was stuck in this endless loop and feeling like nothing was going to improve. And she made a decision to go back to school and pray every day, which has made a huge difference in where she is now. It's a simple step. And I'm sure going back to school is not such a simple decision, but as soon as she made that decision and followed through with it, things started happening, right? Um, Susie says, I was just going to say I'm on chapter 6 of your book. Let's see what chapter 6 is because, now I'm curious. I want to know. Chapter 8, chapter 7, chapter 6, unmet expectations. Perfect example of how we can be stuck, right? We're not getting what we're expecting. So we feel stuck. Okay. So now what we can do is we're going to talk about some ways that we might feel stuck to help ourselves feel better and handle feeling stuck, okay? And the ideas I'm going to talk about are in no particular order. They're just how they popped into my head. Okay, so when we feel stuck, we can feel powerless and hopeless, right? We can feel helpless. Since we don't know what to do, we can feel like there's something wrong with us. Much of getting unstuck is learning about yourself so you can reclaim your power and then trusting. Now, you can read my book, Courageously You, which will help you and give you lots of information. And I'll mention a couple of the ideas that are in there tonight because they are so helpful when people feel stuck. So we want to learn more about this. So number one, look at the situation from the self-learning standpoint, like I mentioned earlier. What can you learn about yourself? Okay, if you catch yourself always complaining, you look at this situation, you go, I'm always complaining about this. Well, maybe that's something to become aware of. Maybe stop complaining about this. Figure out what's going on in your head. Why is it you feel powerless? Why is it you feel helpless? Does it come back to some idea that you don't feel good enough? Okay, you're unworthy in some way. Does it come back to you feeling like imposter syndrome, which is not feeling worthy? Look at how you're responding to things. Okay, what do you believe about yourself? Now, notice this is about yourself, not about a situation, not about other people. They're mean to me. Okay, they may be mean to you, but you have the power to change how you experience these people being mean to you. You have the power to decide what to do to help yourself feel better. When you're in your power, the power of your authentic true self, your soul's energy, you're open to learning and growing. And you're willing to look at every situation as an opportunity to learn more about who you are, an opportunity to choose to live from your soul. I like to say that everything that happens in my life and I have a reaction to it or response to it is just an opportunity for me to get back to my soul, to get closer to my soul. We want to do this with self-awareness, obviously. We want to be objective and curious. Okay, this is not the time to judge ourselves and call ourselves names. We're stupid or whatever. Why would we want to bully ourselves? Not cool. So what we want to do is be curious. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? What's the thought behind here? What am I making this situation about me? How is it that I'm stuck and I'm doing something wrong or whatever it might be? So what can you learn from the situation? So much of our pain in life and when we feel stuck is based on the dissonance between what we want and what we have. I want this, I don't have it, and so I'm miserable. But if we explore that, there's so much we can learn in there. And I will talk about some things to help you with that part. Whenever I had a situation I didn't like, or whenever I feel stuck, I always ask myself, and I did for years, and I still do, what can I do to make myself feel better? What can I do? This is in my power. Okay, when we feel stuck, we feel like we're powerless. We feel like we can't do anything about it. But we can. And there's always something we can do to help ourselves feel better. Maybe it's changing our inner narrative and minimizing that inner critic and instead listening to what your soul would want to tell you. Maybe we would want to do that instead. Okay, another thought. This is one of my favorite things. Reframe feeling stuck as an intermission. Okay. So it's like, this is my favorite. I love this. This is like you go to a play, a musical, a show, whatever it is, right? We have the first part and then there's an intermission, 15, 20 minutes, depending, of where we're sitting in the audience waiting for the next part to start, right? But while we are waiting, and sometimes impatiently, when's it going to start? It's taking forever. But what's happening backstage is everyone is running around, getting in place, putting on their costumes, getting their makeup ready, tuning an instrument if it's a concert, whatever it might be. So the energy is still happening, but it's happening in the background. Okay? So for us, when we feel like we're stuck or we're stalled out, we're simply in an intermission. We have come to a certain point. Now, the energy is working behind the scenes, okay? Our energy is working behind the scenes. We think nothing's happening. We think we're not moving forward at all. We're like, oh my gosh, I keep doing this. It's like we're treading water or even getting washed backwards in waves, right? But the energy is still moving. When the energy has caught up with ourselves, then we'll be ready for the next part. So we're simply waiting for the energy to catch up. This is the evolution of our energy. It's getting us back into this. So if we can reframe our impatience, our irritation on feeling stuck, we can simply go, oh, I'm just in an intermission. When we do this, we let go of the emotional component here. We're not all stuck in there anymore going, I can't believe it's taken forever, right? We just let it go. And then we're back in our power. We've decided to disentangle from the emotions of it and go, oh, and state it as a fact. We're simply in an intermission. My energy is working backstage, and when it's ready, I will move forward. And with this, now in your power, you're now in control. You've decided how to handle it. You're letting go of your impatience, your worry, your fear, and you're trusting that the next part will appear in the right timing. This is one of my most favorite ways to handle feeling stuck because it makes sense, doesn't it? It makes sense. It gives us a break. We can relax. We can stop working so hard because if we trust it's coming, we'll stop working so hard. It'll happen. The other thing I like to do, I have a magical mind game in my book called What If? And what if is what if whatever's happening right now is the best outcome, is the best situation at this time? What if it is? It's a variation of it could always be worse, right? So what if you feeling stuck is the way it's supposed to be? What if you feeling stuck is the best situation now? Would you rather feel stuck or really, 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 really miserable? Right? So maybe this can help. So that's in my book too. Now, another thing we can do. Oh, I had a thought. I had an amazing download the other day, you guys, that I have to tell you about really quickly. So what I mean by that is a spirit gave me this gigantic message. And spirit told me to start a platform mediumship mentoring program. So if you are a medium, new medium, old medium, whatever, experienced medium, and you want to learn more about doing platform mediumship and you want personal guidance from me and more information on how to be the best platform medium ever, you can sign up for my new platform mediumship mentoring program. If you think you're going to come to Lilydale this summer and you want to work at the outdoor services, I can be there and give you feedback, etc. If you're interested in that, check it out on my website. Just popped into my head that I needed to tell you that. So platform mediumship mentoring, you don't even have to have experience. I can take you from where you are and make you amazing. So that's that. Now, the next thing, if you're feeling stuck, you're going to love this one too. It ties in so well with trusting and not having to work so hard. This one is stop thinking. Just stop thinking about it. So we want to shift that stuck energy. And so what happens when we're stuck is we are trapped in the negativity and the overthinking, the complaining. So what we want to do is take a break. I call it the pattern interrupt in my book. I think it's in the second chapter, pattern interrupt. We become aware of the habits and patterns and what we do, complaining, worrying, etc. And we stop, interrupt that pattern and go do something else. So stop trying to figure out what the answer is. Stop trying to figure out how to get unstuck. I know, radical, right? Because people don't like that. People don't like, they're like, but I have to figure it out. We don't have to figure it out. We have been well trained to power through. We have been well trained to keep going no matter what, to think harder to get the right answer, to not give up, but instead, we want to choose to shift our energy and let that part go. Because if we're going to trust, the answer's going to come to us. We'll get the direction we need. We don't have to figure it out. The harder we try to figure it out and think it out, the worse we feel. So if you're overthinking, stop thinking and go do something else, okay? Go do something else. And I've been talking about this a lot with people lately. So what you want to do, as soon as you notice you're overthinking, you're whining, you're complaining, you're worrying over not knowing what's next, whatever it is that pertains to your stuckness, go do something else. If you can do something physical, take a walk, dance, move. Sometimes I'll just go for a walk until I feel better. It could be 30 minutes, it could be 2 hours, right? So take a walk, clean, whatever. Next, you could also do something fun, something you really enjoy, something that makes you feel most like yourself, okay? So something that feels most like yourself. I call this the reset button. Okay. You find something you enjoy when you're feeling off, unbalanced, not feeling like yourself. Go do something to reset your energy, right? Go do it. Sew, paint, garden, write, talk to friends, whatever it might be. Okay. You can go into nature. You can be with the trees. You can look at the lake. You can listen to the birds. You can look at the flowers. Be creative. When we use creativity, that's our soul's expression. Okay, everybody else, can you hear me? Dee is saying she can't hear me. So I'm assuming you other people can hear me, or somebody would have told me by now besides Dee. Now, what happens when we do this? So say you're thinking and you're getting caught up in your head, and then you recognize that you go, I'm going to interrupt this pattern. I'm going to go do something else. You go do it. What happens is you've cleared your energy. You've gotten rid of the clutter that was in your mind. And with that, you'll feel more grounded, more centered, and you'll feel more peaceful. Ah, yes, you've made space in your mind. So it's like you diffuse that clutter and you create this space in your mind. And what happens frequently is the answer or the next step will appear when you least expect it. Another hazard we have as humans is we want the whole thing laid out. We're not usually happy enough with the next best step. But if we just take the next best step, that leads us to the following step. Like Kate saying she decided to go to school. That was her first step. She decided to go back to school. The second step was she followed through with the first step, right? So it's little steps at a time. It doesn't have to be a gigantic thing. But humans, we want to know, I'm here and I'm going to end up way over there, when really all we need is the little next step, and that will help. And with all of this, where we stop thinking and we allow it to come to us, we're trusting that the answer will come in divine timing, not human timing, not my timing, not my impatient timing. It will come when it's supposed to come. If you can set that stuff aside, you will feel so much better in your brain. You will be amazed at how much mind space you have in there to have fun, to relax, and just simply trust that it's all going to be shown to you, because it will. And if something pops into your head and you think, hey, this would be fun to do, or hey, this might lead to whatever, just do it. It will take you to your next step. Now, another thing that ties in with this, and this is also one of my favorites, I have lots of favorites, is if we're struggling to make a decision, and you don't have to make the decision right away, okay, you don't have to have a decision by tomorrow, decide not to make the decision. Give yourself a date, 2 months down the line, whatever. So today is, what is today? May 27th. So June, July. So you've got a big question on your mind, but it's not essential that you answer it immediately. It's not urgent. You go, you know what? I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm going to wait until July 27th. And then when July 27th comes, I'm going to think about it. And what frequently happens is we get to July 27th and the problem has already solved itself. You're no longer stuck. Little steps showed up. You took them. You had some insight. Somebody said something that caught your attention and you took the next step. Lots of times it's taken care of. And if it's not taken care of and it's still not urgent and you get to that date, you can decide to extend it or you could think about it. and see which one feels better for you. So it's the wait until later approach. And that is so amazing for giving yourself more mind space. Okay, now, next thing. Speaking of the holding on to and letting go thing. If you are feeling stuck or feeling badly, it is highly likely you're holding on to something. Okay, this is back to learning more about yourself. So, what are you holding on to? And this is an important question to ask yourself. What am I holding on to? What is causing me to feel stuck? What is causing me to think this way? And it's usually a belief that shows up as an expectation. I expect things to be this way, people to be this way, me to be this way, or something I think I need, or something along that line, right? So, for example, if I'm upset because someone is mean to me, I'm holding on to the idea that they should be nicer. It may be true, they should be nicer, but I'm holding on to that idea. And when they're not meeting my expectation, I'm upset about that. I'm like, well, they should be nicer to me. And so that creates more anger, more pain, more frustration. So instead, we recognize what we're holding on to, and then we choose to let it go. So I let that go. Yes, they should be nicer to me. I wish they were nicer to me, but I let that go and I accept them as they are. Same with if I'm waiting for someone to apologize to me, right? Accept that we're not going to have an apology and let the expectation go. Let it go. Sometimes the simple decision to let something go is enough. Other times we might need to do a process or an energetic thing or something. Okay. Now, if another example, if I'm thinking someone should do something differently, or they're doing something wrong in some way, and I'm irritated by it, again, you see what's happening? I let go of those expectations. I let go of wanting them to be different. I let go of my righteousness that they should be different, right? Now, if you're looking for a partner, I'm desperately holding on to wanting a partner. I really want to have a partner. I've done my list of all the qualities I want to have. I keep looking, blah, blah, blah. But what happens is in that desperation energy, where it's such a big focus, we're so attached to that outcome that our energy will actually repel a partner. Because what should we be doing? Yes, trusting. We trust. We put it out there, then we let go of it, and then we trust that the right person will come to us. Okay. Same thing there's so many examples of things we can be holding on to. If I'm taking things personally, somebody said something, irritated me, whatever it is, when we take something personally, we can let go of being offended, even if it was personal. I've had somebody said to me, well, a couple people have said to me over the years, but it was personal, and they hold on to their anger and pain because this shouldn't have happened that way. Now you see what I'm doing here? Okay, we want to let go of all that. Why? So we can have more peace, so we can feel better, so we can stop being stuck in the anger and the righteousness and the pain. See? It's rather simple, isn't it, really? So now, here's a big one. We've lost somebody through death, divorce, whatever it might be. This is a big one, okay? So we have grief. We must first process the grief. We have to feel the emotions. That is essential. Sometimes we can get stuck in the grief, and it seems as though we're never going to get out of it. Of course, we could have a counselor help us with that, and that's definitely an option. But if we can start recognizing what else is happening, sometimes we don't want to let go of the grief because that means we're letting go of our connection to the person. And if they've passed, we don't want to let go of that connection, but we do want to let go of the grief, and our people on the other side understand that. Okay, sometimes that's it. Sometimes we're holding on to wanting life to be the way it used to be. So we also have to grieve that we no longer have that life. Once we've processed as best we can, then we can let go of that expectation, that want, that desire, and instead move into expecting a better life moving forward, or what we want to have in the future that would be good. So we want to integrate things. So you see, if we can identify what we're holding on to, then we can let it go. Okay. Now, Mel Robbins, you probably all heard about the let them theory. It's everywhere right now. That basically is telling people to let people be who they are. Let them think what they want to think about you. You don't have to change yourself to meet their expectations, right? And you don't want to change yourself to meet their expectations. So if you're wanting other people to meet your expectations, might need to let those go, right? So it's the let them theory, right? Just let them be who they are. Let things be. This helps. I'm just backtracking and looking at the comments for a second because I haven't looked at them in a bit in my speech giving here. Susie says, love the sign of confirmation that comes after the divine timing protection. It never gets old, right? It's so interesting how when we move into that state of absolute trust, which is actually the ultimate solution to feeling stuck. Now, our humanness, it's wonderful to be human, isn't it? Our humanness, we want answers, right? We want that guidance. And if we can recognize that's the human part of ourselves talking, not the soul part. Our soul part is kind of going, hey, wait, I've already got this for you. I'm already connected. It's all good here. And if we can move into that trusting part, trusting the life process, which means trusting that whatever you're experiencing, you're supposed to be experiencing because it's showing you something about yourself. Now, people who are stuck in lots of stuff, like everything is going wrong, nothing is ever right, blah, 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 no matter how hard I try. And this can be a very challenging, difficult situation to be in because we can, just from our experiences and everything that's happening, we can lose our energy and we can lose some hope that things will ever change. And I would suggest that if we're in that kind of state, what we want to do is make a minor adjustment in our thought processes so that we can redirect our thoughts. And I would try, and I have recommended for people over the years who have had this experience, that every time we notice we're getting into my life is horrible, it's unfair, no matter what I do, and we're just reciting this litany of everything that's wrong in our lives. Two things I would suggest. One is, of course, and you've heard this before, is to literally count your blessings, look for the good things in your life. It is cliche in such a way now that people actually go, yeah, I know that. And then we just dismiss it and we don't do it. However, if we do that and look for the little things, for example, here's a little thing. I have this water bottle here that I have two of these water bottles. There's this part on here. It's a little rubber part that is supposed to go over the air hole in it so the water bottle doesn't leak. And I lost it and I couldn't find it. And I was so bummed out because my water bottle was leaking, blah, 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 right? And then today, 3 months, I think it is, after I recognized it was leaking, I found that little rubber piece. I had set it up on a ledge in the kitchen when I found it, not knowing what it went to. And I found it today as I cleaned the ledge. And I was so happy I found it, right? I was like, look at this. Here it is. That's a small blessing. It's a small blessing. Okay. Sometimes when we're in that state where everything is wrong, we can't even find those little small blessings. So we must look small. You're breathing, okay? You have pretty socks on. You found your little rubber piece for your water bottle. You saw a beautiful flower today. And really focus on those things. It works, I'm telling you, particularly if you are struggling. It works. Try it. Write it down if it's going to help you remember all these things, or just repeat it throughout the day. What happens when you're looking for those good things is you're shifting your perspective, you're shifting your viewpoint to look for what's good. So do that. The other thing I would suggest to do, and I only do 2 things, okay? We're not going to do 15 things, even though I may have mentioned 15 different ideas. We can't do everything. You pick 1 or 2 and you play with it until you feel better. And then if another one grabs your attention, you do that one. The other thing I strongly suggest would be every time you get caught in that cyclical thinking, remind yourself, I trust. I trust I will be led. I trust I will be shown. I trust life process. I trust the spiritual flow. I trust the divine. I trust myself. Whatever one grabs you, okay? Trust that you're feeling what you're supposed to be feeling. And again, if that's true, what are you learning about yourself? It is so important that we do this. The life can be a challenge, right? And being stuck it lessens our joy, right? And we want to have more joy. Cindy says, listen to the music of your youth or ask the radio to give you a song to focus on. I sometimes do this for fun and to get away from my own head. When we are stuck, and thanks for saying that, Cindy, because it reminded me. When we are stuck, we're stuck up here. We're stuck up here in our heads, okay? We're stuck in our heads, so we want to get out of our heads. If you've watched me here before, or you're on my mailing list, or you've been to any of my workshops, or you've had a reading or a coaching, you have probably heard me say something about getting back into your body when we're up here, okay? Tune into your body. Notice your breath. Notice your feet on the floor. This gets you out of your head. It gets you back in here. So important. Evelyn says, I divert my thoughts and attention. However, it is a temporary fix. It is a temporary fix. However, as the more we do it, the more we divert our thoughts, the more we focus on something else, the more we clear our energy is what we want to be doing with all of that, right? The more we clear it, the stronger our power becomes. And so we can better handle the feeling of being stalled out or stuck, especially if we can remember that it is an intermission or there's some reason why we're experiencing this. Let's see, I'm looking to see what else you got. What about holding on to something because of a sense of security, fear of unknown, not wanting to leave our comfort zone? What a great question, Annie. Right, what about that, right? We hold on to something because it's familiar, right? I actually wrote down yesterday something like this. I don't know how it popped up as Greg and I were talking, but we don't want to let go of the familiar because of the unfamiliar, or we embrace the familiar rather than embracing the unfamiliar, something like this, right? So here's the thing. Couple things. If we know we're holding on to something because of a sense of security, and here's a perfect example, right? You're in a relationship and you're holding on to the relationship because you don't have enough money yet to be on your own. So we stay in that relationship. If we recognize we're doing it intentionally and that there's a purpose behind this, it's not simply, in quotes, because we are scared, okay? It's not simply because we're scared. It's more that we're doing it on purpose because we have to save our money, okay? Or the fear of the unknown, not wanting to leave our comfort zone. Life is full of risks, and what we want is to be courageous enough to move toward what we want, okay? And that means having a change, making a change. That means recognizing we're a little scared about it, but we go after it anyway. There's a different energy when we stay in something because we're scared to let it go. Then there is an energy where we're moving forward to something we really want, and there's a little fear in there, okay? That's a good fear and a good energy, okay? The other fear is a limiting fear. This fear that's connected to taking a risk to learn something new, to go in a new direction, to let go of things that are no longer working for you. That's a good fear. That helps your energy improve. So for example, platform mediumship, just mentioned that earlier. When we get up there to do platform mediumship, most mediums, if not all, have a little tinge of fear going on because we don't really know what's going to happen. But we get in it, we step into the fear anyway with awesome results. So what we want to do, Annie, is to recognize what we are doing, what reasoning is behind it. And at our soul level, we know that we need to let go of those things that are holding us back from our most limitless life. And that involves being courageous and taking the risk. My title of my book, Courageously You, is because I use the definition of courageous as we see the fear and we do it anyway because we're moving towards something we really want to have. Okay, hope that helped. I just went off on that for a little bit. Ron says he's been doing shadow work with Moldavite. This is a very new beginning. Thank you for the stars, Ron. Heather says, I love the let them theory. It's so true. Also, what other people think about you is none of your business. Be free of it and let it go. And it can be hard to do that, of course, because especially if you're an empath or you've been a people pleaser your whole life and all of that. But if you know yourself and you know you are a people pleaser, or you know that sometimes you give other people more weight in what they think of you than what you think of you, you can be intentional and change that energy by doing that. It's awesome. Anger and righteousness. Yes. Thank you, Ron. Julie said, so much that you said is confirmation that I've been making the right mindset and action changes to get out of being stuck. It's a process and cyclical, but it is moving, just as you said. Yes, sometimes we just don't think we're getting anywhere, but we really are getting there. We just don't recognize it yet. Okay? We're not going backwards. Roxanne, I'm recently retired. I don't know what's next for me, but I feel like doing nothing. Then I feel lazy. A little self-judgment maybe on that one, right? But here's the thing. You recently retired and doing nothing is healing for you right now. And you probably feel like you're lazy because before you always had to be productive. So you simply just give yourself permission to do whatever you want to do, right? And maybe it's doing nothing. I like to call it whim days, where I go do whatever I really want to do. So it's letting go of the old way of looking at something and going into a new way of looking at something. Julie says she makes a point every morning on her walk to thank the universe for all blessings, big and small. Yeah, gratitude is so important. You are welcome, Annie. I'm glad you're looking forward to reading my book, Liz. Jessica is ready to take that risk. Yay! Awesome. And here's the thing, right? Life is all about, as I said at the very beginning, evolving. We're evolving. We're growing into ourselves. Everything we know now, we previously had to take a risk to learn or do, right? So you've already done millions of these things. You've already done a million. So no worries on feeling stuck. It's simply a transition time, and you'll be done with it soon. So I want to thank you for joining me. Check out our soul alignment during Chaotic Times class, Sunday and Monday evenings. It will be recorded. So if you register for the class and you miss it, I'll be sending you the recording. So you'll have that. And it's going to be awesome. A simple 3-step process to help you basically let go of the chaos, look at it differently, get back in your power. And that would be perfect. And also for you mediums out there that want to know more about the platform mediumship mentorship that Spirit said I had to do, that involves 2 online classes, one at the beginning, one at the end, and then 5 to 10 times to evaluate you and your platform mediumship. And I have been teaching, I've been a coach, I've been a medium, all for years. I have so much information to help you step into your power so you can be the most awesome medium possible. If you want to sign up for that, you can check it out on my website. Go to the events section and you'll see it right there. On my events section, you'll see everything I'm doing this summer. Empath Survival Skills is in June. I'm doing another platform mediumship class in August. I'm doing a Being Your Soul class. Greg and I are doing Navigating the Consciousness Shift. We have so much information and so many things. My book, you can find it on Amazon. I think it's $17.99. No, $16.99. I think it's $16.99 or something like that. So not too much. So I want to thank you all for joining me. Let me know how it goes when you play with some of these ideas. Definitely write it in this, or even just send me a message on Facebook or something. Sometimes I get a little behind on those, but send me a message. Let me know what spoke to you tonight. And if you really loved this, give me some hearts at the top there, reactions, likes and hearts and stuff like that. That helps my post get out there for more people, and so more people can see it. This recording will be available for 30 days before Facebook deletes it, but it will be on my website as well as on my YouTube channel, which is Colleen Vanderzyden. My YouTube channel, and follow me there as well. Okay, thanks for joining me. I so enjoyed talking with you, and I hope this has been helpful for you, and I will see you the next time I see you. Have fun. Bye.